Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to today's unboxing for Doomlings. I've had some people requesting this, probably because I've seen it in store and it seems like a lot of people like my Unstable Unicorns videos, and this seems kind of like in the same vein. It's a quick party game. So yeah, picked it up. I also picked up the expansion packs, so we will go over that afterwards as well in the same video. So if you go like the actual Doomlings website, you'll see they have like a deluxe edition. It's this box, the 5 expansions, and then like a playmat. So if you don't want the playmat and the bigger little extra stuff like that, you can just pick up this in store and then pick up the expansions later, which is really nice. So it's a quick card. Somewhere in the doomed and distant planet, life has emerged, competing for dominance until the world's inevitable destruction. Score points by playing traits from your Doomling species and making them more adaptable, resilient, and mischievous. Play traits across multiple rounds called Ages, but be warned. Hidden in the Ages are catastrophes. Special rounds if they follow the planet, forcing you to adapt your strategies. So 2 to 6 players, 10 plus, about 20 to 45 minutes. So we'll kind of do a quick run over on the rules. Here's one thing it says, which I mean, same thing like with games like Unstable Unicorn, or other quick hand card games where stuff is sort of random. I tell you this, your first playthrough, you might overthink your hand. There's some hidden perfect path to take. When this is the case in real life, rest assured, there's no perfect card to play. For now, just play something cute, try some things, trust the cards will find your way. So I always recommend this, even most card games, where you're not like starting off with a structured deck, where everyone's drawing from the same pile, everyone always has random cards coming in, is just play stuff, see what happens. Worst that happens, you lose. But it'd be better for you to lose lose the game, quickly, get the game done quicker and then have lost, and then kind of like, okay, now I have an idea of what to do. Now I can play the next game quicker than spending 20 minutes, with analysis paralysis. So the game is set out really quickly. There's basically 2 different types of decks. There's going to be Doomling traits, which are made up of different colored cards, and then there's flipped the wrong way. There's Doomling Ages, which are basically tracking your turns. So you're going to take this Doomling Ages deck. You're going to take out the one card that's called the Birth of Life, which is the beginning card. Set it aside, and there's 15 catastrophes, but they're going to have the same backs. They're just going to look a little bit differently. You can shuffle your other 25 cards, make 3 piles. Deal 3 piles of 3 ages each. You have 9 cards, and then set them aside. So of the 25 age cards, you're only going to play with 9 of them. So you're going to be able to play the game multiple times without coming across the exact same combination. Then you're going to shuffle 1 catastrophe into each of the piles. So even there, you're playing with 1 card, or 3 of the 15 cards. So even if you only wanted to see them catastrophes once, you could play, 5 games without seeing any duplicate catastrophes. So in each pile will have 4 cards. So what this basically does is that in each of those stacks, you don't know when you're going to get these bad cards. You could draw it first, you could draw it last, and then the third one will actually end the game. So it'll be in that last pile of 4 cards, so you don't know when you're going to draw. Again, you could draw the very last card of the entire deck, or you could draw the first of them 4 cards. So it kind of keeps you a little bit random there. Then each player gets a special Gene Pool card. This is more or less just telling you what your hand is going to reset to. It says, your Gene Pool is unique to you. It represents how many cards you should hold on to the end of your turn. You flip and rotate it as it increases or decreases. So it's going to be a card that looks like this. So this one says 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Flip side is 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going to start at side 5, but there might be various cards that make you drop that you get 6 cards in your hand, or maybe you get up to 8 cards. Maybe you get down to 3 cards. But it'll be different for everybody, so depending on what cards you play, you might have more cards in your hand than somebody else. And then finally, shuffle the traits, so everything mixed up, and deal 5 cards to each player. That's basically it. Make your little deck, shuffle your cards, and then draw 5 cards. Okay, object of the goal is to score the most points at the end of the game. First player the first player is left of the dealer. To begin, the first player flips the Birth of Life card, starting the age. You start the 1 card that has no special abilities. Once all turns are taken, the first player flips the next age card, and the new round begins. It says, ages all players follow the age cards instructions before their turns are taken. Age only affects last one round. So they're going to have special abilities on them. So we're going to start off with the Birth of Life, which say your gene pool is 5, set 1 trait. Then eventually we're going to flip over these age cards, and we're going to get different things like ignoring actions. You may only play traits with a face value of 3 or lower. Draw 2 cards. They're going to have various different effects that'll change how you do it. And then you might occasionally get a catastrophe, which is going to do something big, like -1 to the gene pool, pass your hand to the right. Or -1 to the gene pool, discard 1 card from your hand for every green trait in your trait pile. So they're all going to do different stuff. And then once, if it's the last one, then you will also do the World's End effect. So it's even, the thing is, even if you get the same, as you're playing this game many, many times, even if you come across the same catastrophes, it depends on which ones last to debate on which one you'll get the World's End effects. So it's just showing it'll go like this. So the first card flips, then the second card, then the third one, just so you can kind of keep a track of which one. So when the first catastrophe hits, you put it on top, then you start playing all the next cards in the next pile. Then play the third one, that way you can easily keep track of which one you're in. So how do you actually take a turn and win? Play 1 trait from your hand, face up in front of you. This is a trait pile. It is how you score points. Tip, organize your tableau, which is basically what's your cards on the table. Overlap the same card to point values revealed. So every turn you're going to play 1 card. And then it's the next, it's simple as that. You're not playing 3-4 cards unless you have different actions and stuff like that. But it says this one, they have a green worth 1 point, 2 grays which are worth 1 point each, and 2 purples which are worth 2 and 3 points. Some traits have text that give at the bottom called effects. You'll apply them now if they do them. And at the end of the turn, stabilize your hand. To stabilize, the number of cards in your hand must be equal to your gene pool. So you draw 5 cards to start with. Your gene pool starts at 5. Which says if you play your cards, now you only hold 4, you draw a card. If for some reason you had something that drew 2 cards, or 3 cards, now you're up to 6, you have to discard down to 5. If you're at 5 and you're holding 5, you do nothing. But there could be something that can change your gene pool again. It could go up to 6, 7, 8. It could go down to 1. And it's just going to affect how many cards you get to have, which is either ups or limits your options on what card you can play each turn. Once you stabilize, your turn is over. All players are taking their first turn. The first player flips a new age card, and the round begins. So it's as simple as that. Play a card. Trait from hand has an effect. Do that. Draw or discard to your cards equal to your gene pool. Next player starts. Then you flip another age. Do that over. So when the third catastrophe hits, the game ends. So catastrophes affect all gene pools. So it says plus or minus, everybody has to do it. But there could be other cards you have, your traits that you play that might affect that as well. All catastrophes have a catastrophic effect. You follow the effects before turns are taken, and then ignore the world's effect until the third one hits. So do A, do B, then do C if it's the third one, otherwise skip it. If it's the world end, first do the regular 2, then in turn order, When players check their traits for trait piles that say World End, so you have this extra little symbol on there that's going to show that they're a World End effect, just to kind of help do that. So do all those effects, then resolve the World End effect, and then no more traits. Then you have to score points. How do we score? Pretty easy. If it's the final catastrophe end effects, give or take away point, count these now. So you're going to have something like, this one says, -1 for every blue trait in your pile, or -1 for every purple trait, or +4 points to the player to fewest traits in their trait pile. So you'll do all those first, figure out your points from there, then tally all the face of all your cards. You count up all the little circles on your cards. So like this would give me 6 points there, plus or minus whatever I just had. And then finally tally up any bonus or modifiers your traits have. So some cards will also have effect to give bonus points at the end of the game. And that little droplet, such as this one here, will say, has a little droplet, so I get +1 for each card in my hand. It's just going to give me extra bonus if I have a bunch of cards. So yeah, if you're playing, that, or we're going to have, like this one here, will say +4 if you have more traits in your trait pile than your opponents. So we get some different ones there. And if there's a rare event of a tie, we leave it to fate. Draw a trait from the top of the deck and apply only the face value to the score. So that's basically how that works. Then there's a color and texture guide. So there's different colors and different textures to just kind of figure out what's what. So there's green vines, blue clouds, purple honeycombs, red sparks, and colorless crags. So if something mentions a color, it only counts the 4 colors, not colorless. And then they also have the symbols and kind of like the designs on the cards to kind of maybe help people that might have like color blindness or color issues. So if you can't really, I'm not really sure what's green in that, you can kind of look at the symbols or the outsides of the cards, and you can see their difference. You can at least match those like symbols or images together. So that's that's very helpful there. It's a really fun idea. And then customization. This is something I say for almost every game I ever play. Doomlings can be customized to your household liking. If a card doesn't fit your playstyle, it's okay to remove it. If you want longer or shorter games, you can also add or remove age from the setup phase. Expansion and boosters can be mixed in. So yeah, you play 3 ages. If you like a longer game, add 5 ages. You want, for some reason you want a really quick game, do 2 ages. You play a card that you're like, I don't like this card because maybe you don't like what it's called, or something like that. Or you don't like the effect, or maybe you think the effect is too abusive. Take it out. Not a big deal. It's your game. You own it. Play it how you want. You're not taking it to a tournament. So the only other thing it didn't really mention in here... Oh, it's on this side. That's why. Alright, so we just have the guy of just effects. It just explains there's certain other things. There's age effects, trait effects. There are action effects. Certain cards 11A, which just say these actions only occur on the trait is played from your hand, and then they don't do anything. Out of turn effects, so this exclamation with wings, they're basically cards you can play not on your turn. They'll tell you when you can play them, but they'll have special times you can play them to do different things. You still play them as a normal turn, but they're not necessarily as powerful. Face value bonuses, swap and stealing requirements. So it says, an effect requirement says you must have at least 1 colorless trait in your pile. You must fulfill this requirement to play this card. The top of the deck or the discard pile. If it's played randomly, you cannot fulfill this requirement, discard it immediately. Ignore the requirement if the trait is removed, swapped, or stolen, or otherwise stated. So it has to be on the table. Game pool, stabilizing, we kind of already talked about that. Just rotating, flipping your card over. Catastrophe traits, all this extra little stuff there. So there's some special other things. There's a Dominant trait cards. So they're going to have a gold border with a star in the top corner. Just to show they're separate, they say dominant on the top. They're basically a little bit more powerful cards. Says, once played, they cannot be swapped, sold, discarded, returned, or removed from your trait pile for any reason. So they're a little bit more powerful, but you also can't get rid of them for any reason. So if you all of a sudden you decide, oh, I'm going to play this because they have a really good effect, maybe it might help me later, and it doesn't seem to help you as well, you can't do anything. But you can only have 2 of them. So also be careful. Once you've played 1 of them, remember you can only play 1 more. So if your hand all of a sudden has 4 or 5 of them, you need to figure out a way to get rid of them, otherwise you're in trouble. So you might receive a 3rd trait by random chance. In that case, instead of playing the 3rd card, discard it. You may not redraw to replace it. So there's kind of a bummer there. Except for this Birth of a Hero card. There's just a reminder on all the different icons, expansion sets. There are 4 colors. Dual colors are 2 colors and simultaneously from the expansions. Greatest colors can't be used for color effects. Highest color count is a color you have the least or most of. A color pair is a pair of colors. Is 2 traits of the same color. Says when you can't play a trait. If you are able, you must play a trait, even if it's something you don't want in your trait pile. On a rare occasion, you might be able to play a trait on So if on your turn you have 5 cards in your hand, you have to play something, even if they might go against an effect you already had on the table, or it might give you negative points. You have to play something. The only reason you can't, it says if your hand is completely empty, someone made you discard cards, whatever. Draw 5 cards, skip your turn. If you hold cards you can't play any, you just skip your turn. You may, if you choose, discard your entire hand at that point, draw 3 cards, but in either case do not stabilize back up. So if your hand says you should only have up to 8 cards, you only get to redraw the 5 or redraw the 3. But you don't want to, we might have 2 cards, and maybe you have to discard them, you don't get a redraw or discard down. But you don't want to skip your turn. Generally, you always want to try and play something, but you can't forcibly choose to just skip because you don't want to play anything. And there we go. So that's the basis of it. So play a trait every turn, and using them traits, you do the you gain bonuses. So we're gonna look over all the different colors here. So we have gray here. We have denial, catastrophe, smashtrophe. Ignore the next catastrophe. Warning: you cannot ignore the 4 horsemen. So this is gonna give you 4 points, and it's a dominant trait. We have faith. The reason is the face is the fact of reason is the fact the faith. Oh crap! Why am I not reading this right? Reason is in fact the path to faith, and faith takes over when reason can say no more. At World's End, you may change all of your traits to 1 color to 1 alternative color. Optimistic nihilism. Nothing matters. Bring about the next catastrophe. Skip all turns. Ignore all age effects along the way. Do not stabilize. Then we have regular ones. Now you can see they don't have the gold border anymore. This one, the droplet, says, altruistic. Can I borrow a few bucks? I donated all my money to charity. Your value is equal to your gene, to the size of your gene pool. So it'll give you different bonuses based on that. So normally this is just counted as 0, and then when you add your bonuses, then you'll get that bonus amount. Boredom, I don't know. What do you want to do? Value is equal to the number of cards in your hand with effects. So again, this is a lot more powerful if you have a bigger gene pool. Confusion. And you might ask yourself, why does this trait exist? -2. Yeah, so it's kind of a bummer one, but there's the thing, like you could again choose to take out just negative ones if like maybe you're playing with kids and that's just they don't want to have negative stuff. Delicious. To save the species from extinction, figure out how to eat it. You must play. To play, you must have at least 1 colorless trait in your trait pile. Goading. Okay, these are the last cookies. Unless you want more, I'll make more. Give your opponent a card from your hand. Eloquence. Say the right thing, then stop talking. Play at World Giant, play another trait, ignore its action. So you'll have that end of the world ability there. We have Fear. Are they done playing yet? Flatulence. 5 alarm chili, fire in the hole. Gratitude. Gee, I really appreciate this. Thank you. This value is equal to the number of different colors in your trait pile. So this could be up to 4. Introspective. Puddle on the street. Will I ever feel complete? Draw 4 cards. Just. Are the scales bounced? I can't see a thing. Add +1 to your game pool. Late. Sorry, there's a fire in traffic and the line for coffee was really long. You may play late from your hand after you stabilize. Mindful. As you walk and eat and travel, be where you are. Otherwise, you will miss out on the most at life. +1 for each colorless trait in your trait pile, including this one. The mitochondrion. The organelle assembling the worst hole in the miniature golf course. +1 to the game pool. Mortality. I'll let him keep his lunch money. It's the right thing to do. Well, morality, not mortality. Morality. To play, you must give 1 positive value trait from your trait pile to an opponent. This is where you have a 1. Give him a 1. You get to keep a 5. Prepper. More like Apocalypse No. End of the world. Choose an end of the world effect from the 3 catastrophes played for players to end on. So you get to choose yours. That's kind of fun. Sudine. I saw it, Dad. Now let's go. +1 for each different color in your hand. Self-aware. Self-awareness. I guess I'm not a vampire. You may play self-awareness from your hand into an opponent's trait at any time. So this is a great way to get other cards out of them, action cards. And then the third eye. You like it? Thanks. I just awoke it. Take a peek at the next page. Play another trait. Alright. So those are all the gray ones. So those are kind of like, each one has different, like a different theme to it. Those are kind of like, the gray colors when you're kind of like feelings or emotions or internal things. The blue one is kind of aimed more at like water, kind of water or like air type traits. I mean, they have clouds listed, so it's kind of like that idea. So here we have a dominant trait. We have echolocation, the all-seeing ear. Until the world's end, draw 1 card at the start of each of your turns. Immunity, can't touch this. +2 for each trait with a negative face value in your trait pile. And tiny, little itty teensy weensy. -1 for each trait in your trait pile, including this one. So it says 17, but like, if you only have a few other big cards, this could get very powerful. Auto mimicry. I made a big scary face. You didn't notice my small real face. You may play auto mimicry from your hand at any time to prevent an action card. Blubber. It's protective fat. Thank you very much. Chromatophones. No octopus here, just some coral. Move along. You may play chromophoremones from your hand at any time to prevent an action. Cold blood. I would kill for the ability to control my body temperature. Draw 3 cards. You may play 1 now. Costly signaling. Like a peacock feathers or a philosophy degree. Return an opponent's trait to their hand. Play another trait. Egg clusters. Buy 1, get 100. For each +1 for each blue trait in your trait pile. Flight. There is no sun to match my waxy wings. Swap hands with an opponent. So something like these ones get really crazy where you gotta sing now you have even less control. Like, you had something maybe planned with what you had, it could go to crap right there. Gills, I need a breath of fresh water. Iridescent scales, I got rainbow-like skin. Lustrous, ain't it? Draw 3 cards. Migratory, can't wait to move back in with our parents. Painted shell, I'm just in art and craft projects for now. Play an action card from your action from your trait pile. Regenerative tissue, how many fingers am I holding up? Wait, hold on, they're still growing back. Anytime you discard a trait from your trait pile, including this one, draw 1, play it immediately. Saliva. This is stuff that drools are made of. +1 to your gene pool. Scuttles. When this is over, my victory will be celebrated. Give an opponent 1 trait from your trait pile. Selective memory. Me? Wrong? That doesn't sound great. Play 1 card from the discard pile, then play its action. Spiny. Don't pet my fish. Sweat. I bench so I can brunch. Discard 1 card from your hand, and the last balloon is tentacles. Watch out, folks, here comes the Swaptopus. Swap 1 trait from your trait pile with another opponent's trait of the same color. Some of the ones where they let you draw cards, a lot better if you have a higher gene pool, because then that way you can keep them cards. Where if like, hey, I have 5 cards, I play 1, now I'm at 4, I draw 3, so now, I'm gonna have to discard. But if you have a higher one, it's definitely great. So the green cards are vines. These are going to be kind of more like plant or wilderness-based cards. So we have Heroic, which is a dominant trait. Deep down, under all this muscle, I'm just a super honorable and courageous. To play, you must have 3 or more green traits in your trait pile. Pack behavior. We would all like to go outside. +1 for every color pairing in your trait pile. Symbiosis. Yes, feast my parasitic friends. +2 for every trait in your lowest color count. You must have 2 or more colors. If there's a tie, pick 1. Appealing, orange you glad. Bark, wolf. Branches, tree arms. +1 for every pair of green traits in your opponent's trait pile. Deep roots, I discussed the weather with my neighbor. This is my home forever. Okay, I'm going to say this wrong. Fiduci? Not even sure. Once you pop +1 to the gene pool, he's a father, so it's supposed to be. Fortunate, some call it luck, some call it a blessing. That is equal to the number of cards in your hand. Leaves, I asked my barber for a salad bowl cut. Overgrowth, Mommy, why did you pull me out of kindergarten? +1 for each green trait in your traits pile, including this one. The games are kind of fun because they can get super powerful, but they start at -1. So I have to play at least one other one just to make it 0, and then it expands after that. Photosynthesis, munching some photons, nom nom nom. Draw 2 cards. If either are green, play 1 immediately, unless restricted. Pollination. Well, you see, Timmy, when a bee and a plant fall in love, +1 for every card in your trait with a face value of 1. Propagation. Much easier than dating. Play another trait. Random fertilization. Picking other between 1 and 64 trillion. The value is equal to the size of your gene pool. Self-replicating. More me, copy that. Play 1 card from the discard pile, ignore its trait. Or ignore its action. When you play another green trait from your hand, you may return this to your hand. Then we have this one that's kind of interesting. We have Swarm. We're here for our new phone. The value is equal to the number of all swarm traits in all trait piles. So I was thinking like, oh, you're gonna get traits in every pile, but we didn't get one in blue. No, we have a bunch of green ones. So it's the same effect, just with different pictures. And we got 5 of them. So if you get all 5 of them, there's good. But there might be some in the other colors that we didn't see yet, the other 2 colors, or expansions or later sets. So that could be very interesting. Tiny little melons. Not just little, but also tiny. Steal 1 green trait from an opponent's trait pile. Trunk, container of junk. Play the top card of the discard pile, ignore its action. And woody stems. This is how I transfer fluid from my roots to my shoots. Alright, up next we have red, which is sparks, like sparks, fire. So it's going to be, kind of like, that, like they're going to have like anger or, kind of like aggressive traits, I guess would be the great way to put that. Apex Predator. Where do you think you're going? +4 if you have more traits in your trait pile than your opponents. Hyper Intelligence. E equals MC, stop staring at my head. At World Giant, choose a color. Opponent discards 1 trait from that color from their trait pile at random. Sentience. I'm feeling so many things right now. At World Giant, choose a color. +1 for all traits of that color in your trait pile. And we have Antlers. I bet I look good on your wall. Bad. No cuts, no glory. Your opponent discards 2 cards from their hand at random. Brave. My farm's nearby, so if you're thinking about erupting, cock-a-doodle, don't you dare. +2 for each dominant trait in your hand. Brute Strength. Wreck yourself before you check yourself, bro. -1 gene pool. That is funny. Hey, big dumb jocks have less genes. Endurance. Catastrophes can't trample me. Whenever you discard an endurance from your trait pile, return it to your traits. Fangs. The sharpest tool in the head. Fire Sting. I think your sting is on fire. Heat Vision. I like to make toast. +1 for each red trait in your trait pile. Hot Temper. There's cheese on my cheeseburger. Discard 2 cards from your hand. These little quotes are so funny. Alright, we have Kidneys with a chef's touch. Tooch. The value is equal to the number of kidneys in your traits pile. So like Swarm, that's going to be a very similar one. But this is kind of interesting because they have different pictures with different words. Kidney with a comb over. Kidney with an elf hat. Kidney in a party cap. Kidney with a tiara. Kidney with a topper. Then we have Quick. Hiya, hiya. Reckless. Hot Take coming in hot. You and your opponent discard 1 trait from each other's trait piles. Retractable Claws. Hurts every time. You may discard... To play, you must discard 1 red trait from your trait pile. Stone Sting. Your heartfelt compliments are no match for my craggy exterior. Territorial. Everything smells like pee is mine. All your opponents discard 1 red trait from their trait pile. Voracious. Don't look at me. Play another trait, then discard 1 trait from your trait pile. And Warm-Blooded. Are you trying to boil my blood? +2 to the gene pool. Alright, then our last color is purple, which is Honeycomb. So I think these are kind of, they're a little bit odd ones. Yeah, I'm not really sure what the goal there is. They're kind of, I think they're like, defensive trait type of things, I think the idea. So we have Camouflage. Blending like the winners or stand out at a wedding. +1 to the gene pool, +1 for each card in your hand. Vampirism. I want to suck your blood. Steal 1 trait from the opponent's trait pile, play its action. And viral. Like, share, comment, and be sure to smash that subscribe button. Oh, that's funny. At World's End, choose a color. Opponents receive -1 trait for each trait of that color in their trait pile. Adorable. Hey, you look like a sucker. Rub my belly. Now get in the lava so I can float to safety. Big ears. What? Clever. Why can't birds make plans? Because their calendars are loosey-goosey. Your opponent reveals 1 card in their hand. All players steal 1 and then play it immediately. Directly register. Meow, I'm a cat. I walk so precisely. Big deal. Steal a trait with a face-up value from its opponent's traits. Dreamer. Someday I'll be more than just a purple ball. Fine motor skills. I have traits to shape. Impatience. Would you like to move already? Or would you make a move already? Steal 2 random cards from your opponent's hand. Inventive. You can't make this stuff up, but I can. Play an action card from an opponent's trait pile. Memory. Retention of information like someone's boudoir or an anniverse. Oh no. You may discard your hand and stabilize. Nocturnal. The dark is my muse. Noisy. What? Oh, nosy. What you holding? Look at 2 random cards at an opponent's hand, steal 1, play it immediately. So blue has lots of, or purple here has lots of stealing effects. Parasitic. We all have that one friend who never has their credit card and is constantly drinking blood. You may play Parasitic from your hand when your opponent plays a trait. Steal that trait, stop its action. Persuasive. Change your mind or I will yell louder. Choose a color. All players discard all cards of that color from their hand, including yourself. Poisonous. An apple a day keeps the doctor away, unless the apple is from a witch. Swap poisonous with a trait from another opponent's trait pile. Selfish. Mine. Steal a red trait from an opponent's trait pile. Sneaky. Didn't see that coming, did ya? At World's End, you may play Sneaky from your hand. Sticky secretions. Give me a hug. +1 for each purple trait in your trait pile, including this one. Super spreader. False alarm. I thought I was gonna chew. All players receive -1 gene pool. Teeth. A source of income when you're a child. Sorry. Telekinetic. The ability to turn on the TV when you can't find the remote. Swap 1 trait from your trait pile with an opponent with a trait of a different color. And then the last purple card is Venomous. My bite is worse than my bark. Play another trait, then move Venomous to an opponent's trait pile. So those are our 5 different colors. So we're going to look over the ages quick. So again, we can start with the Birth of Life, which one you're always going to start with. It'll have a different back. Just to set your gene pool to 5, play 1 trait, stabilize your hand. Then we will jump into the regular Doomlings ages. So we have Age of Peace, ignore all trait actions. So now, drawing these can definitely mess up any maybe plans that you might have had in your hand. That's why they do recommend don't spend a ton of time trying to make big strategies. Plus, since everyone's drawing from the exact same deck of cards, trying to like formulate some sort of strategy isn't always the best idea, because you can't go into every game and be like, alright, this is my idea, I'm going to go with this, I'm going to do this. You could start off thinking like, hey, I'm going to try and play a bunch of purple cards, and then you might play 3 purple cards, and then never draw another purple card again. So you kind of just got to go with what you have in your hand. Glacial Drift. You may only play traits with a face value of 3 or lower. High Tides. If you play an effectless trait, you may play another effectless trait. Lunar Retreat. Players cannot play purple traits. Northern Winds, draw 1 card, discard 1 card from your hand. Age of Wonders, you must end your turn with 4 cards in your hand. So now this one's kind of interesting, since you must end your turn with 4 cards in your hand. So I'm not sure if that means you play down to 4 cards, or if during the stabilize part, you have to discard down to 4 cards. So this might be a card I need to have like a clarification on. Alien Terraform, you may discard the dominant card from your hand. If you do, then stabilize immediately. Awakening, preview the next stage before you take your turn. Galactic Drift, you may play a colorless trait. If you play a colorless trait, you may play another colorless trait. Tectonic Shift, players cannot play green traits. Coastal Formation, draw 1 card after you stabilize. Birth of a Hero, if you are holding Heroic, you may now play it without restriction. Flourish, draw 2 cards. Natural Harmony, you may not play a trait of the same color as the last trait played. Prosperity, at the end of your turn, you may choose to not stabilize. Reforestation, traits in your trait pile cannot be swapped, stolen, or discarded. Tropical Lands, players cannot play colorless traits. The Age of Dracula, discard 1 card, random card from your hand. If Vampirism is in your trait pile, steal 1 random card from an opponent's hand. The Age of Nietzsche, instead of stabilizing this turn, you may discard your hand and draw 3 cards. Eclipse, players cannot play red traits. Enlightenment, you may discard up to 2 cards from your hand before you stabilize. Age of Reason, draw 3 cards, keep 1, discard the other 2. Arid Lands, players cannot play blue traits. Comet Showers, discard 1 card from your hand at random. And the Messiah, play this card, this age in reverse, first player last, last player first. Then we're going to get to the Catastrophe. So the Catastrophe again have the same backs, but we'll have Glacial Meltdown, -1 to the gene pool, discard 2 cards from your hand at random. World's End, discard 1 blue trait from your trait pile. And some of these could be beneficial like that too. If you have to discard a trait, we'll have one that has a minus. Discard it. Boom. You know, if you didn't need that. Ice Age, -1 gene pool, discard 1 card from your hand for every red trait in your trait pile. World's End, -1 for every red trait in your trait pile. Mega Tsunami, -1 gene pool, pass your hand to the right. At World's End, discard 1 red trait in your trait pile. Deus Ex Machina, +0 to gene pool, stabilize, crisis averted. World's End, draw a card, add space value to your final score, +5 max, then discard it. The Four Horsemen, -1 gene pool, discard 1 trait in your trait pile. World's End, discard 1 trait from your trait pile with a base value of 4 or higher. Grey Goo, 0 to gene pool, discard your hand and stabilize. World's End, -5 to the player with the most traits in their trait pile. The Big One, -1 gene pool, give 1 card in your hand to your opponents on your left and right. World's End, -2 to your score for each color missing from your trait. Mass Extinction, -1 to the gene pool, discard 1 card from your hand for every colorless trait in your trait pile. World's End, discard 1 green trait from your trait pile. Overpopulation, +1 to the gene pool, draw 1 card for every color type in your trait pile. World's End, +4 points to the player to fewest traits in their trait pile. AI Takeover, -1 gene pool, discard all but 1 card from your hand. World's End, each colorless trait is now worth 2. Ignore all colorless trait effects excluding dominance. The Pulse Event, -1 to the gene pool, discard 1 card from your hand for every purple trait in your trait pile. World's End, discard 1 purple trait from your trait pile. Retrovirus, -1 gene pool, discard 1 card from your hand for every green trait in your trait pile. World's End, -1 for every green trait in your trait pile. Nuclear Winter, -1 game pool. Stabilize and discard 1 card from your hand. World's End, discard 1 colorless trait from your trait pile. Solar Flare, discard half your hand rounded up. And World's End, -1 for every purple trait in your trait pile. And then finally, Super Volcano, -1 game pool. Discard 1 card from your hand for every blue trait in your trait pile. And World's End, -1 for every blue trait in your trait pile. I liked a couple, like the Heroic and the Vampirism. I like that they added, like, specific cards. I was sure there's a couple more that did that. Then we're going to have our Gene Pool cards, which are just going to be these multicolored ones. They're double-sided. They're all the same, so it doesn't really matter which one you have. You are going to get 6 of them, so there's enough for each player. Then you're also going to get 4 of these reminder cards, which they just, again, come in some different colors. So all they're going to remind you is your step 1, or taking your turn, play your trait, has an effect, play it, stabilize, then the catastrophe, move the first player position to the left. So that's the one thing in the book, the regular rule book, I didn't really, either I kind of glossed over or missed a little bit, was it every turn the first player is always the next player in line. So if you're playing 6 players, over the course of 6 turns, everyone's going to get at least one chance to be the first player. So it's not always guy A playing first. So the second turn, he'll actually play last. Adjusted gene pools per catastrophe, follow the effects, because the third one to your World's End to resolve it. Then how to score. Then on the back side, it has just a reminder of this. It only came with 4 of these, though. Gene pool, -1, max 8. Plus, minus, do that. Dominant traits, can only play 2, 4 colors. And then action. Action traits are out of turns. Traits with the 1 symbol are for end of the world. And other bonus traits. Yeah, I don't know why they only gave you 4 of these instead of 6, 1 for each player. I mean, they're just reminders, so you can just set them aside. But I think that definitely would have been a better idea. Yeah, so just before I go over the expansion, this is a fun, quick little game. Each color has different things. Again, you can see doing that. So a question, there are 2 things that come up. Is cards, sleeves, they're regular playing card size. So you can get any type of sleeves to put on if you want. I like to sleeve games like this for 2 reasons. One, because you're doing a lot of shuffling and it'll help protect them. I mean, they're going to be pretty durable overall, but just, I like to be better on the safe side. And 2, because when they're party games like this, so you're going to be playing with a lot of different people, taking like the family events or whatnot, it definitely kind of helps protect them. So if people are like, oh, I was just eating some cake or some chips or something, it keeps grease and other things off them, because you can always replace card sleeves, but you don't really want to have to replace this because somebody, had something on their hands and smeared it all over the card. Now you can tell what that card is, or it wrecked it. And then the other thing people ask, what about playing with more players? Again, I don't make these games, so I can't say that for sure, but like, this plays up to 6 players. Could you play with more players in this deck? Definitely. I don't see why you couldn't. Just as a reminder, every time you add 1 more player, even past 6, even past 4, I'd say 4 is probably a good ideal. 6 is probably fine because the game seems fairly quick, but if you start adding 8, 10 players, the game's just going to take that much longer, because that's 10 other people have to play cards before you, and unless everyone's playing cards really fast, like, hey, my turn, play a card, my turn, play a card. Even now, it's 10 cards that have to get played like that. But if people are taking longer turns or taking time to stop and think about it in between each time, it's just going to take that much longer. For, like, just, is there enough cards in here? There's no special cards, nothing like that. It's just, so I don't see why you couldn't play with more people. I would almost say, though, if you're going to try and play with, like, 10 plus people or more than 6 is maybe pick up a second copy of the game. Or bare minimum, at least pick up all the expansions, because the expansions will add a ton more cards. But even maybe still, even if you play the expansions, or you pick up a second deck, have like one deck on each side of the table, just so that way to help that. Even if you're playing a regular game, you might do that anyhow. Just shuffle the deck up, put one deck on one half of the table, the other half on the other side. Just so people have to draw from the main deck, they can do it. It will kind of fundamentally change some things, like looking through discard piles if you have 2 different discard piles. But that could definitely be a thing to do. Or if you are playing with like 10 people, maybe have 2 age decks and you have more effects going on. Yeah, a game might take longer that way anyhow. But if you're going to play with a ton of people, have twice as many different effects going on, just to kind of mess with everyone a little bit more. Alright, so that was the base game. The only 2 other things that came in the box that I wanted to show off is you get a foil card. So in this one, you get 1 foil card per box. If you ordered the big deluxe set, you had the place matter, you got 3 ones. The only thing that was interesting is this actually has different artwork. So I just thought it was going to be like a foil card, but there's the regular camouflage. Here's the foil one. So I wonder how many different cards and how many different ones they have. Would be very interesting to find out, because the collector in me is like, dude, I would, if it's just a foil card, man, I don't care. Ooh, it has different artwork and a little chameleon on there. Honey, don't go, I can change. That might be interesting to try and collect. So I wonder if there's like a certain number, or if it's just the dominant cards that got foils. I'd be interested to find out. And then there's just a little card in here for that. Just talking about the reviewing it. And then I want to show off the box, if I can get it open. Alright, then there is the box. So inside they have a spot here for your age cards. Drop all those in there. Your main deck can go right in there. And then they have a little spot here. You can pop this out for the expansions. So it does hold everything very nicely. Now, if I sleeved all these, they're not going to fit in here with the with this divider in here. But that's not that big of a deal. I can always just take all them out. I could probably, there's enough room in here, top to bottom. I think I could sleeve these. Let me grab the sleeve card and find out. People don't care about sleeving, sorry, but I like to talk about it. So I have a penny sleeve here. This is a Buffy the Vampire Slayer card. So here's what's gonna happen. Your penny sleeves, which are really cheap to buy, those have a little extra on top and the bottom. They're not gonna fit in here very well. It does fit in there, but it's gonna kind of bend that top a little bit. If you got regular sleeve cards, so I'm going to use my Here to Slay, which is my good example. So these go straight to the top. You can see the difference there. So there's like a height difference in there. Penny sleeves, you get a little bit left. You get like regular size sleeves. They'll fit in there nicely. So if you buy some good, decent sleeves for your cards, they'll fit in the box. You might have to take the divider part out. If you buy penny sleeves, they're probably not going to fit in there as well. Although what you could always do is take this out and put them in sideways like this, and you might be able to get them all this way, and then maybe just turn the last couple sideways. Just to let you know, after we do the expansion, we'll see how the expansion stuff fits in there. So let's go ahead and take a look at those. Alright, so I was going to hop over and do the expansion of the set, but this video, actually, between explaining the rules and going through all the cards, took a little bit longer than I would have thought. So you check out the second video that's just going to show off the expansion cards, which I'll just show what they look like in the box and all that. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. And check, let me know if there's any other games you'd like me to check out. Because again, I did this because some fan commented and said I should check it out, and I definitely did. Should be a fun party game. See you guys in the next video. Bye.